First contact and misunderstanding. The stars shimmered like scattered diamonds against the infinite blackness as the Zorathian fleet emerged from hyperspace. Their massive golden warships, each the size of cities, hung menacingly above Earth's atmosphere. Inside the lead vessel, Supreme Commander Zorax studied the blue planet below with all 6 of his optical receptors, his scaled skin shifting from orange to deep crimson with anticipation. Ambassador Elena Martinez stood at the observation deck of Earth's United Defense Station Alpha, watching the alien fleet settle into position. At 52, with silver streaks in her dark hair and eyes that had seen decades of negotiation, she represented humanity's best hope for peaceful first contact. The weight of 7 billion lives rested on her shoulders, yet her composure remained steady. "Their ships are beautiful," murmured her aide, Dr. James Wilson, a xenobiologist who had spent his career preparing for this moment. "Beautiful things can be deadly," Elena replied, adjusting her formal diplomatic uniform. "Remember, we know nothing about their culture except what our long-range scans have shown. We proceed with caution." The first meeting took place in a specially constructed chamber aboard the station. The Zorathians arrived in their ceremonial armor, their 7-foot frames towering over the human delegation. Supreme Commander Zorax moved with fluid grace despite his impressive size, his multiple arms gesturing in complex patterns as his translator device activated. "Humans of Earth," Zorax began, his voice a deep resonance that vibrated through the chamber. "The Zorathian Empire greets you. We have observed your primitive world for many cycles. You show promise, and we offer you membership in our great coalition." Elena stepped forward, her expression neutral but firm. "We welcome peaceful contact, Supreme Commander. However, humanity governs itself. We seek friendship, not subjugation." The translator conveyed her words, and Zorax's skin shifted to a mottled purple that his species used to express amusement. "All new species speak of independence. It is endearing. You will learn the benefits of Zorathian guidance." Over the following weeks, cultural exchanges began. The Zorathians shared some of their technology, demonstrating medical advances and energy systems that seemed miraculous to human scientists. Yet with each gift came subtle demands. Access to Earth's resources, influence over political decisions, control over communication channels. The first incident occurred when Zorathian survey teams landed in Antarctica without permission. They claimed the continent held minerals essential for their energy cores and began extraction operations before any agreement was signed. Elena requested an immediate meeting. "Supreme Commander, your teams are operating on sovereign Earth territory without authorization. This is unacceptable." Zorax's multiple eyes blinked in synchronized dismissal. "The frozen land serves no purpose for your species. We utilize what you waste. This is efficient." "It's not about efficiency," Elena said, her voice taking on a harder edge. "It's about respect. Remove your teams immediately. We find this behavior annoying." The translator processed her words. In Zorathian culture, the concept of annoyance was considered the mildest form of displeasure, something only inferior beings expressed when they lacked the power to act. Zorax's skin deepened to a rich burgundy of satisfaction. The humans were proving as weak as expected. "Your annoyance is noted," he replied, making no move to comply. The pattern continued. Zorathian ships began harvesting asteroids in Earth's belt without consultation. They established observation posts on the Moon, claiming it was for mutual benefit. Each time, humanity protested. Each time, they used the word annoyed. And each time, the Zorathians grew more confident in their assessment of human weakness. Dr. Wilson approached Elena after another fruitless negotiation. "They're not taking us seriously. Every time we say we're annoyed, they seem to become more aggressive." Elena nodded grimly. "They're misinterpreting our restraint as weakness. It's a common mistake. Perhaps we should use stronger language." "No," Elena said firmly. "We give fair warning in our own way. What they do with that warning is their choice. 3 months after first contact, the situation reached a critical point. Zorathian forces had established a permanent base in the Sahara Desert, claiming the area was underutilized by humanity. They began terraforming operations that threatened to alter regional weather patterns. Elena called for a formal session of the United Earth Council. Leaders from every nation participated via quantum-encrypted channels. The discussion was heated but unanimous. Humanity had been patient long enough. The final diplomatic meeting took place aboard the Zorathian flagship. Elena arrived with a smaller delegation than usual, her expression carefully controlled. Supreme Commander Zorax greeted them with what passed for a smile among his species, his confidence radiating through his burgundy scales. "Ambassador Martinez," he said grandly, "I trust you've come to formalize our arrangement. The Zorathian Empire is prepared to offer Earth Junior membership status, a great honor for such a young species." Elena stood straighter, her gray eyes meeting all 6 of Zorax. "Supreme Commander, I've come to deliver a message from United Earth. Your unauthorized activities on our planet and in our system have gone beyond annoying. They are now intolerable." The translator conveyed her words. Zorax's junior officers made sounds of amusement. In their experience, species that used such mild language even when pushed to extremes were invariably helpless to resist. "Intolerable," Zorax repeated, his skin shifting to amused purple. "And what will Earth do about this intolerance?" Elena's smile didn't reach her eyes. "You misunderstand human nature, Supreme Commander. When we say we're annoyed, it's not a complaint. It's a warning. When we say something is intolerable, it's not a negotiation. It's a declaration." "A declaration of what?" Zorax asked, genuinely curious about what this primitive species thought it could threaten. "A declaration that warnings have ended. You have 24 Earth hours to remove all unauthorized presence from our system. This is not a request." The Zorathian delegation erupted in what their species used for laughter. The sounds echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. Zorax raised his primary arms for silence, his amusement evident. "Or what, Ambassador? Your species has barely achieved interplanetary travel. You have no fleet, no advanced weapons. What could you possibly do?" Elena turned to leave, pausing at the chamber door. "Supreme Commander, there's something you should understand about humans. We don't bluff when we say we're annoyed. And we never, ever bluff when we say we've had enough." As the human delegation departed, the Zorathians continued their mirth. They had encountered countless species who made empty threats when faced with superior force. Earth would be no different. They would learn to accept Zorathian rule, as all others had. In the history of galactic civilization, few misunderstandings would prove as catastrophic as the Zorathian Empire's failure to comprehend human nature. They had mistaken patience for weakness, restraint for inability, and warnings for empty words. They had less than 24 hours to learn how wrong they were. Escalation and consequences. General Marcus Chen stood in the heart of Earth's strategic command center, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Holographic displays filled the massive chamber, showing real-time positions of Zorathian forces throughout the solar system. His weathered face remained impassive as he watched the aliens' response to humanity's ultimatum, or rather, their complete lack of response. 16 hours remaining, General, reported Lieutenant Sarah Park, her fingers dancing across a crystalline control panel. No signs of Zorathian withdrawal. They're actually reinforcing their positions. Chen nodded slowly. "They don't believe we'll act. Activate Protocol Sentinel." Across the solar system, hidden installations came to life. Humanity had not been idle during the decades of searching for alien life. While publicly funding space exploration and scientific research, Earth's united governments had quietly developed defensive systems that would have seemed impossible to outside observers. The Zorathians' first indication that something was wrong came from their lunar base. Sensors detected massive energy signatures emanating from Earth's moon, from the far side that always faced away from the planet. Supreme Commander Zorax received the report while dining on synthesized delicacies from conquered worlds. Impossible, he declared, studying the data. Our scans showed no technological presence on the dark side of their moon. The readings are accurate, Supreme Commander, his science officer insisted. Energy levels are unprecedented for this species. Before Zorax could respond, alarms blared throughout the fleet. Humanity's true capabilities began revealing themselves. From concealed bases in the asteroid belt, swarms of autonomous defense drones emerged. Each no larger than a personal transport, they moved with coordination that defied Zorathian understanding of human technology. On Mars, the red planet's surface split open at predetermined points. Massive railgun installations, built in secret beneath the disguise of failed colony attempts, oriented themselves toward Zorathian positions. The aliens had dismissed these locations as abandoned human failures, exactly as intended. Ambassador Elena Martinez appeared on every Zorathian communication channel simultaneously, her image crystal clear despite their attempts to jam the signal. Supreme Commander Zorax, she said calmly, you have 8 hours remaining. This is your final warning. Zorax's scales flickered through a spectrum of colors, confusion, anger, and for the first time, uncertainty. This is impossible. Your technology level was deliberately understated, Elena finished. Humanity learned long ago that it's better to be underestimated than overestimated. We've been preparing for this possibility since we first detected radio signals from other civilizations. The Zorathian leader's pride wouldn't allow him to back down. Tricks and illusions. The Zorathian Empire has conquered 100 worlds. We will not be intimidated by primitive displays. He ordered his forces to advance. Zorathian troops moved to secure their positions on Earth, while their fleet repositioned for orbital bombardment. It was a tactic that had worked countless times before. Overwhelming force applied swiftly to break the will of resistance. They never got the chance. At exactly the 24-hour mark, humanity's response began. The autonomous drones moved with surgical precision, disabling Zorathian ships' weapons systems without destroying the vessels themselves. Quantum-entangled communication networks, a technology the aliens believed impossible at humanity's supposed development level, coordinated the defense grid with perfect synchronization. The lunar installations projected energy fields that trapped Zorathian vessels in place, neither able to advance nor retreat. On Earth, the unauthorized bases found themselves surrounded by force fields that had seemingly appeared from nowhere. Another human technology, carefully hidden from alien sensors. General Chen watched the operation unfold with grim satisfaction. Status report. All Zorathian military assets neutralized. Lieutenant Park reported. 0 casualties on either side, as ordered. This was perhaps the most stunning aspect of humanity's response. Despite having the capability to destroy the Zorathian fleet entirely, they had chosen precision over destruction. Every action was calculated to disable, not kill. Supreme Commander Zorax found himself trapped on his flagship, watching helplessly as his mighty armada was systematically neutralized by a species he had dismissed as primitive. His skin had turned a pale gray, the color of deep distress among his people. Elena Martinez appeared on his personal communication channel. Behind her, Zorax could see what appeared to be a command center far more advanced than anything his scouts had reported. Supreme Commander, she said, I believe you're beginning to understand your miscalculation. How? Zorax demanded. Our intelligence showed you exactly what we wanted you to see, Elena interrupted. Humanity has faced extinction-level threats throughout our history. We survived by being adaptable, clever, and most importantly, by never showing our full hand until absolutely necessary. She gestured, and a holographic display appeared showing the true extent of human defensive capabilities. Hidden bases throughout the solar system, technology decades ahead of what they had revealed, and defensive systems that could have been activated at any time. Why? Zorax asked, his voice subdued. Why the deception? Why the warnings? Because despite our capabilities, we prefer peace, Elena replied. We gave you every opportunity to approach us as equals. When we said we were annoyed, we were giving you a chance to correct your behavior without conflict. When we said your actions were intolerable, we were giving you a final opportunity to withdraw with dignity. General Chen joined the communication. In human military history, there's a concept called escalation of force. We always provide warnings before action. It's not weakness, it's principle. Zorax's skin shifted to a deep blue of contemplation. You could have destroyed us at any time. Yes, Elena confirmed, but that's not who we are. Humanity's strength isn't just in our technology or our weapons. It's in our restraint, our patience, and our willingness to give others a chance to choose a better path. The Zorathian leader was silent for a long moment. In his centuries of military command, he had never encountered a species that possessed overwhelming power, yet chose not to use it for conquest. It challenged everything he believed about strength and dominance. What happens now? He finally asked. Now, Elena said, you have a choice. Withdraw from our system peacefully, and we can begin true diplomatic relations as equals, or continue your aggression and face the full consequences of your actions. Now, Elena said, you have a choice. Withdraw from our system peacefully, and we can begin true diplomatic relations as equals, or continue your aggression and face the full consequences of your actions. For the first time since achieving command rank, Zorax felt genuine respect for another species. These humans hadn't just defeated his forces, they had done so while demonstrating a level of moral sophistication that put his own empire to shame. We will withdraw, he said formally, and we will return to discuss proper diplomatic relations. As the Zorathian fleet powered down their weapons and began preparations for withdrawal, a message was already spreading through their vast communication network. The humans were not what they seemed. Their warnings were not born of weakness, but of strength held in check by wisdom. It was a lesson that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of power and of a peculiar species that had mastered the art of being dangerously patient. Resolution and Galactic Lesson. The Galactic Council Chamber on Nexus Prime had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, but never had it seen such a gathering of attentive representatives. Beings from over 1,000 worlds sat in tiered rows, their varied forms creating a tapestry of life that spanned the known universe. At the center of their attention stood Ambassador Elena Martinez, the first human to address the full council. Supreme Commander Zorax sat in the front row, his scales now a neutral green that signaled respect among his people. The transformation in his demeanor over the past months had been remarkable, leading to whispers throughout the diplomatic community. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Elena began, her voice carried by advanced translation systems to every corner of the vast chamber. 6 months ago, humanity faced what could have been our first interstellar war. Instead, we found an opportunity to demonstrate what we believe is the true measure of an advanced civilization. Holographic displays activated, showing the confrontation between Earth and the Zorathian Empire. Gasps and various sounds of surprise echoed through the chamber as the true extent of humanity's hidden capabilities was revealed for the first time to the wider galactic community. Many of you wonder why we conceal our technological advancement, Elena continued. The answer is simple. We wanted to be judged not by our weapons, but by our character. The Silethi ambassador, a crystalline being whose facets pulsed with inner light, chimed in melodious tones. But surely revealing such power would have prevented conflict. General Chen, standing beside Elena, stepped forward. With respect, Ambassador, history on our world taught us otherwise. Displaying strength often invites challenge. We chose instead to emphasize diplomacy while maintaining the capability to defend ourselves if necessary. Elena nodded. When we say we're annoyed, it's not an expression of helplessness. It's a courtesy, a chance for others to reconsider their actions before consequences become necessary. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Many species had dismissed humanity precisely because of their measured responses to provocation. Now they realized those responses had been choices, not limitations. Supreme Commander Zorax rose, his imposing figure commanding attention. The Zorathian Empire owes humanity an apology, he declared, his words causing murmurs throughout the assembly. We mistook restraint for weakness, patience for inability. We have learned that true strength lies not in the power to destroy, but in the wisdom to refrain from destruction. His admission sent shockwaves through the council. The Zorathian Empire had never apologized to anyone in its 1,000-year history of expansion. Alina smiled warmly. And we have learned from you as well, Supreme Commander. Your people's efficiency, your technological innovations in energy distribution. These are gifts that could benefit all civilizations if shared freely rather than imposed. Over the following hours, Alina outlined humanity's proposal for a new kind of galactic relationship. Instead of the traditional hierarchy of conquerors and conquered, she suggested a commonwealth of equals, where technological and cultural exchange flowed freely in all directions. We call it the Terran Doctrine, she explained. 3 simple principles: respect for sovereignty, graduated response to aggression, and shared advancement for all. The quantum communication networks buzzed with discussions as representatives consulted with their homeworlds. Many expressed skepticism. The galaxy had always operated on the principle that might makes right. The quantum communication networks buzzed with discussions as representatives consulted with their homeworlds. Many expressed skepticism. The galaxy had always operated on the principle that might makes right. The High Arbiter of the Council, an ancient being whose species had witnessed the birth of stars, spoke for the first time in decades. Ambassador Martinez, your proposal challenges millennia of established order. Why should the powerful restrain themselves? Alina's response would be remembered as one of the defining moments in galactic history. Because, High Arbiter, true power isn't measured by what you can take, but by what you choose to give. Humanity could have emerged as conquerors. Instead, we offer partnership. We could have destroyed those who threatened us. Instead, we showed them a better way. She gestured to Zorax. The Supreme Commander's empire is stronger now than it was 6 months ago, not because they conquered us, but because they chose to learn from us, and we are stronger for learning from them. The vote that followed was unprecedented. For the first time in Council history, a fundamental change to galactic civilization was proposed not by one of the ancient powers, but by a newcomer. The Terran Doctrine passed with an overwhelming majority. In the months that followed, the galaxy underwent a transformation. The phrase "annoying the humans" became a colloquialism for actions that might trigger unforeseen consequences. Species that had never cooperated began joint research projects. Trade routes that had been closed for centuries reopened. The Zorathian Empire became humanity's strongest ally, with Zorax himself spending months on Earth studying human philosophy and military restraint. He established the Zorathian Terran Military Academy, where officers from across the galaxy learned that the highest form of victory was achieving objectives without firing a shot. Dr. Wilson, now head of the Interspecies Cultural Exchange Program, documented hundreds of cases where potential conflicts were averted simply because one party remembered the human example and chose patience over immediate action. 5 years after first contact, Alina Martinez stood once again at the observation deck of United Defense Station Alpha, now renamed Unity Station. Beside her, Supreme Commander Zorax watched as ships from a dozen species worked together on a massive construction project. The first truly collaborative space habitat designed to accommodate all known forms of life. Do you ever wonder, Zorax mused, his skin a contemplative blue, what would have happened if we had heeded your first warning? Alina smiled. The outcome would have been the same, just reached more pleasantly. That's the thing about human warnings, Commander. They're not threats, they're opportunities. To choose a better path, Zorax completed, having fully internalized the human perspective. Below them, Earth turned slowly in space, no longer a target for conquest, but a beacon of a new way of thinking. The archives of countless civilizations now contain the same lesson. When humans say they're annoyed, it's not a sign of weakness, but a courtesy extended in hope of a peaceful resolution. The galaxy had learned that human patience was not infinite, but it was profound. Their restraint was not born of inability, but of wisdom, and their warnings, when given, were never bluffs, but rather the final olive branch extended before the storm. As new species made contact with the galactic community, they were invariably warned by their more experienced neighbors. Approach the humans with respect. Listen when they speak of annoyance, for in their restraint lies a power greater than any weapon, the power to choose peace when they could choose victory. And across the stars, civilizations that had once sought dominance through force now competed to see who could be the most patient, the most understanding, the most human in their approach to conflict resolution. The last warning had become the first lesson in a new era of galactic civilization.